check my phone.
Hi, this is Carol. Thank you for joining us on another tutorial. Today I am going to be doing a new set, and we were having a lot of issues making this video, but we don't care. We were going to post it regardless of what happened. So here you see me pushing back on the cuticles, gently pushing back on the cuticles, and prepping the nail for a fresh lay. So I'm using a 80 sanding band, and I am gently removing the shine on the natural nail. I'm running my e-file at 3000 RPMs, and you're going to notice we jumping around a little bit on the video, but sometimes when you're shooting, it doesn't just happen. So there's going to be a lot of outtakes in here that we left in. Once again, this is a 80 sanding band at 300 RPMs for removing natural shine on the natural nail. Take your time with this process because this is where lifting happens. So you want to make sure that all the natural shine is removed from the natural nail bed. So I'm just going to dust off the little dust particles, and we are going to be using some nail tips from my nail collection, and we are choosing the appropriate size for each nail. Right here, guys, my glue just was not working. We had some unopened tubes of nail glue, and they were all dry in the container. So every single one that I cut open was dry. And so you're gonna see I'm switching my nail glues out. It's not holding even after I hold it down for 3 seconds. All right, so here I'm blending the tips into the natural nail to remove bulk on the nail tip so that when we build up with acrylic, it's not chunky nails. I'm removing some of the shine from the enhancement. This is a step some people do, some people don't do it. I like to, it just doesn't remove the shine. It also removes some bulk from the nail tip. So I try not to skip that part at all possible. And as you can notice, we already cut the nail tip part to the length that we wanted it. So we skipped that part of the video. A slight reshape here. So we were going for square tips here, so just a little, making sure that they were completely fitted, and then I dust them off. And at this point I'm about to prime using the Young Nail protein bond. When I'm using the Young Nail protein bond, I like to do 2 applications. It's recommended to do 2 applications. So by the time I get to the other hand, the first hand will dry, and I reapply the protein bond, and I have zero lifting on my nails when I use that method. So it acts as a primer and a dehydrator and a primer. Today we're going to be using my powder Entourage Nail Gallery acrylic powder and the accompanying monomer. At this time, I like to burp my brush, make sure there's no air bubbles in the brush. And before I do my first application, it allows me to know if there's any acrylic stuck in the brush. So I like to put down a clear layer, a very thin clear layer. A very thin clear layer on all the nails before I actually put the powder that I intend to use for the application. Some people don't like this because if you put this layer down too thick, it will actually make the nail chunky in the end. But when I say a thin layer, it's really thin. And I like doing this because sometimes the guests start, rummaging through their pocketbooks or touching their hair or their face, and I'm already prepped the nails. I do not want to have to re-prep because there is oils on the nail. This gives me the confidence that I can take my time to do the application without the guests touching the nail. So now I'm using my Pink Panda acrylic to fill in the nail, pushing it up to the cuticle. Now, if you are watching this video, by now you should tell I'm an amateur at shooting. So if the video is too far away from you, you can always expand it in your device if you're looking at it from a cell phone, or widen the screen if you're looking at it from a handheld device other than a cell phone, like a iPad, or if you're on a computer, so that it will bring you closer to the hands. And if you know how to shoot better, drop us a hints on how to shoot our videos better. We appreciate it. So I put the first bead down. When the nails are shorter, I like to put the first bead down closer to the cuticle and then fill it in. You may have a different method, but this method works for me. And I'm making sure that I'm not flooding the cuticle or the side walls for that matter. And observe the backward laying, how I put the bead down to the front and sort of like smooth it backwards so that I can fill in the tip and the back of the nail to make sure that the thickness is appropriate everywhere. So here I pick up a bead and I am putting it down closer to the cuticle. If I'm working with longer nails, I start from the middle. When I'm doing the shorter nails, I start from the back. And I'm gently tapping it forward. My moments of silence are intentional, and it is intended so that you can observe as opposed to me pointing your attention in one direction as opposed to the other. So when I take a pause, it's really for you to take the opportunity to observe, and then I'll talk a little bit more about what you may or may not have observed. So I picked up a second bead and I'm putting it down just under where I put the first one, and I'm gently pulling it forward. Once again, I'm picking up a bead and I am going to lay it down towards the back of the nail. And I always use this method when I'm doing shorter nails. Making sure I'm not flooding the cuticles, and I'm gently pulling it forward. And if you notice my the paper towel that I'm wiping off the product on, it's very clean. That's because I'm waiting a few seconds before I put the beads down so that there isn't a whole bunch of acrylic stuck to the brush. There isn't really much to wipe off. I'm just really keeping it clean. And then I am also using the shop cloth from the mechanic shop. I like those. I'm putting another bead underneath the one that I just put down, and I'm gently pulling it forward, building up the thickness at the front of the nail, wiping my brush off, keeping it clean. All right, so here we jump forward a little bit and we're on the thumbnail, and I am doing one of those reverse beads to make sure that I have enough thickness at the front of the nail. The smoother I get the nail at this point, without flooding the cuticle, is less work I have at the end when I'm trying to finish this job. So I'm cleaning up the side walls, making sure there is no flooding there, patting it back to the cuticle. So once again, when I'm doing short nails or shorter nails, I like filling in the back first, because the last thing I want is chunky nails looking like chiclets. We've all seen them and they're ugly. So when I put it down at the back first, I can literally pull it forward as much as I want to bring the thickness down. And then I just need a little bit of product on the front to fill in the thickness. Here I'm making sure that the nail had enough product. I think I missed a spot somewhere. Right there. Fill it in from the back, pull it forward, clean up. If you can clean up at this stage, you have less work to do at the time of finishing the nail. Paying close attention to my sidewalls. Okay, at this point, no, we're still working with the pink panda. I'm still gonna go back and put a layer of clear over this. Encapsulate whatever I'm working on. So here I'm finishing up on the thumb, filling it in, putting a bead of acrylic right under the original one that I put down to fill in the cuticle section. And I'm making sure that the product doesn't spill into the sidewalls or the cuticle area. It's a nightmare to clean up if you leave product there. I'm using a reverse bead right here for the purpose of filling up the thickness towards the front of the nail. Also, I did not mention the brush that I'm using. When I used to have my nails done in Boston when I lived there, the nail tech used a brush similar to the one that I am using. Actually, no, I think this brush I'm using is my alpha brush in a size 10. Yeah, this is the alpha brush in a size 10. I just took a good look at it. And guys, my alpha brush is abused. I use it a lot. So here it is. I'm going back and putting a thin layer of clear. And you're probably saying, wow, she had a layer of clear, then she had the pink powder, and then she has clear. That's how little product I'm using. I am very much aware of the fact that I don't want the nails to be chunky. So I'm not doing it heavy-handed. I just like to encapsulate the stuff that I do in clear. It doesn't matter how light the powder is. It's just something I practice to do. It took me a long while, guys, to do short nails. I hated doing short nails. Now I developed my rhythm for doing them, and I don't mind them as much as I used to. But it's the reason why when I do shorts, I start from the back is because I created a system for myself by which I can start, I have a system for each length that I'm doing, and I just find that it works better for me if I put the cuticle down part first, since the space that we're working in is so limited. Beautiful. So this set is laid. I paid attention to cleaning up the cuticles, the side walls. The nail is not too chunky. I use a series of forward lays and back lays on the cuticle. And now on the cuticle, I'm laying the nail. And now we are doing that last shape to get the nails to the desired shape and style that she wants. So here I am trying to keep the file as straight as possible to keep the nail shape straight. And as you notice, we jump forward a little bit here. So it's just basically the same thing, just keeping the file straight on the left and the right side, and maintaining the shape that we want and the length of the nails. Here I'm measuring to make sure that both hands are symmetric. And because the camera is not directly over our hands, it looks like the file is slanted, but it is straight, guys. So here it is now. I'm e-filing. I'm using a fine bit. The nails came out fairly smooth, so we just making sure that the nail is sealed properly. So I'm going from my right to left. When you're looking at the video, it might look like I'm going left to right, but that's the position that you're looking at the video on. So I'm going right to left, and I am making sure that I keep the e-file as parallel to the finger as possible.
아직 남아 꿈만 속에 꿈이 아니겠지 꿈이었어도 나 헤어나오지 못했어 I don't wanna wake up just wanna back up 우리가 함께했던 것을 난 너무 슬퍼 눈을 가렸어 아무것도 보지 못하게 넌 아마 내가 아는 미워둔 기억 속에서 나를 찾고 있겠지 더 많은 것이 변해 우릴 갈라졌다고 난 변하지 않았어 You know what have I done to you all around my life But before I said that you were far away The song can never reach you 이 노래 듣게 된다면 이미 늦었어 The song can never reach you 아무 일도 없던 그대로 우리 다시 돌아갈까 너무 많이 돌아왔나 우리 다시 돌아갈까 너무 많이 돌아왔나 잊고 살았던 게 너무 많은데 너를 포함한 모든 것들 우리 다시 돌아갈까 우리 돌아보지 말자 너무 많이 돌아왔나 우리 돌아오지 말자 핸드폰 속에 너와 나눴던 얘기들은 아직 남아 꿈만 속에
I don't know about you guys. The hardest thing for me to do is to paint in the lines. I got big hands, and painting these little lines is just too much for me. But we made it through, and she liked it, and that's all that matters to me. And also, I kind of got the hang of how I wanted to put it down. If you are struggling with drawing lines or had struggles with drawing lines and you've perfected it, drop a comment in the comment section. Help a sister out learning how to draw lines with this itty bitty little brush. So I'm doing a little cleanup here. Then we're going to go back into the lamp and cure for 60 seconds. And we will put some cuticle oils around the cuticle, and then she'll be done. So the cleanup brush that I'm using is, I want to say I had bought a Mia Secret all-in-one kit at one point, and that's the brush that came with it. And it's not my favorite brush, so I use it as a cleanup. But you can use whatever you want as a cleanup brush. Just that whatever you use for cleanup, you don't use it for applying acrylics later. I promise it was a struggle for me painting these lines, and eventually at this point you can tell I'm a little bit more comfortable painting the deep French. And this is a top coat I'm putting on here. I'm also going to cure that for 30 seconds. And I bought this OPI lamp. I absolutely love it. You can take the bottom part off and use it for gel toes, but I love the fact that it turns on and off on its own. And I haven't had any problems with the gel polish curing completely, and that has to do with the fact that I'm using an OPI lamp for the OPI gel polisher. So if you're having issues with your gel not curing, you might want to consider the lamp that you're using. Alrighty, guys. If you haven't already done so, please like and subscribe and consider sharing this video with a friend. We're all excited about it. It wasn't the most perfect video we've put out, but we wanted to show that not all videos come out perfect. So if you're interested in showcasing your work, just go ahead and do it. At this point, we are putting on some cuticle oil, and this is the end result. Ready? And shop Entourage Hair Gallery. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.